a few years previous to 2020, but he's got that experience. He's been a champion, he knows the feeling, and he's looking to capture it once again.
Yeah, he's played against some great players over his near 20-year history in the game, and none greater than the one that sits in front of him now. Tord Reklev looking to continue to do what he does, which is build off of a nice consistent deck and just take down great opponent after great opponent.
The Dragapult from Tord, the Raging Bolt from Mahone. This has been a classic matchup. We've seen this play out in some pretty high-stakes matches. You know, Christian Labella versus Makani not too long ago. The format has changed. We'll see how the matchup has changed alongside with it.
Yeah, it can be real fun. There's opportunities for these big swing turns, setting up for 4, 5, 6 prize knockouts occasionally from Tord's side of the board. And for Andrew, it's all about preserving those resources, giving yourself opportunities to draw out of some awkward situations. One that he does not have to worry about this time around is this is not a build featuring Unfair Stamp. It is the Neo Upper Energy, so has to only dodge a couple of those Iono in order to stick around and find those last few prizes.
So many different factors, so many different things that could come into play. I'm glad to be able to experience this game. I'm glad that this is one we're able to capture, to save for posterity's sake. It is surely going to be an exciting one. These opening hands are going to be extremely important, of course, and also the prize cards potentially as well as we lay those 6 out.
See if they can synchronize it with each other. Well, they're synchronizing energies. They've got 2 energies each to worry about. Maybe a little more unfortunate on Tord's side. He's only got 2 copies of each of those basic energies, so maybe a little more focused on the Luminous to start things off.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty big deal. Luminous energy provides an energy of every single type, but it only does that when it's not attached alongside another special energy. You can't stack up those luminous energies, so he'll only have 1 fire, 1 psychic to work with until he starts to take those prizes. It seems like Mahone is excited. Seems like Tord is excited. I'm excited, Kyle. Let's get into this game.
Yeah, this is what we came to see, and look at this. This is exactly where Andrew wants to start things off. He has the transformative Ditto ready to roll here.
The perfect starter. You can only use that transformative start on the first turn of the game. You can, and only if the Ditto is active as well. So the fact that he got it and that it is in the active spot, absolutely incredible. He's able to now search the deck for any basic Pokemon and put it directly into play, swapping the Ditto out, and sure enough, fan call from the fan Rotom, now able to find 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less and add those to the hand.
It almost does not get better than this. Fan Rotom in the active. You have that opportunity later to turn this into an attacker, not have to leave pretty important Pokemon in the active spot. Assault Landing can handle those opening Pokemon, take down Dreepies, and maybe get you some cheap, easy prize cards, so long as you find that Stadium later on.
Off of the fan call, it will be a pair of Hoothoot as well as a Noctowl grabbed from the deck. Now, Nest Ball will be played, searching the deck for any basic Pokemon, finding that Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, a key card of this deck. Teal Dance draws you cards, it gets energy cards into play so that your Raging Bolt EX is able to do more and more damage.
Yeah, also unlocking that Jewel Seeker ability. We saw the Noctowl added to the hand. This means 2 of any trainer for the following turn. This feels so great if you're Andrew, and it looks like he's not exactly done just yet. Has the grass energy, maybe a few more resources there too.
Yeah.
See Earthen Vessel, so maybe could see some more energies later on.
And looking at this list, actually a key thing here for Tord, he is not playing Shaman in his deck. That is the big card that people were kind of eyeing up in this matchup. It slows down that baby Bolt, the regular non-EX Raging Bolt, quite a bit from just wreaking havoc on your board. That is something that Andrew Mahone will be able to take advantage of here if he wants.
Yeah, if you have that information, you feel comfortable maybe going straight into that Raging Bolt, throw an energy down on that Pokemon, and then you can threaten to attack for 90 on any Pokemon on that side of the board on the next turn. If you move that Pokemon around with a Latios or however you can switch this Pokemon, you're doing some pretty great things.
Earthen Vessel sends a Raging Bolt EX to the discard pile. Andrew will in turn find 2 basic energy from the deck, add them to the hand, does find a basic Lightning and a basic Fighting, and he will get that Raging Bolt established into play. Thunderburst Storm dealing 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy you have attached to the Raging Bolt. Now the pass over to Tord Reklev. Let's see what he has, and it is a pretty strong opening already with the search cards, but I don't see a great supporter.
Yeah, we're missing out on that. 2 supporters to choose from, but it is the Professor Turo and the boss's orders, it looked like. Buddy Poffin, you love to see on that opening turn, give you that opportunity to start building up on that bench. But it's just the Ultra Ball from that point forward to start to see some resources. And, I mean, do you hold on to that so you can find a Dracloak on the later turns? Maybe you're missing out on some potential. You might need to hold on to the
You might need to hold on to the Ultra Ball so you can find a Pheasantipity, to be honest. if Mahone is going to take the KO on the next turn. Tord is going to try to slow things down if he can here with the Badoo, it seems. Buddy Poffin searches his deck for 2 basic Pokemon, 70 HP or less, does find a Dreepy, finds that Badoo. So long as he has an energy card or a Pokemon tool card, the rescue board be it, he'll be able to get into that Badoo to start using Itchy Pollen, try to slow things down on Mahone's side.
And so often, especially in this matchup, it's not going to stick around for multiple turns. This is about slowing your opponent down just a little bit here. Make them hold on to some of those item cards. Buy yourself an opportunity to evolve these stage 1s. And maybe you don't see that prime catcher. Maybe you don't see that resource that leads to a boss's orders, and that's all that you needed.
Expensive switch. Yeah.
Expensive switch.
Yeah, Tord calls out the Turo there as the expensive switch. Is going to choose to not put an energy in play. You know, knows that there's a decent shot that that energy would just get erased from play with the Thunderburst Storm of Raging Bolt. And Andrew actually just has it right away. Crispin searches the deck for 2 energy cards of different types. You put one in your hand, and you get to attach one from the deck directly to one of your Pokemon in play. This can make the Raging Bolt attack this turn for 90 damage anywhere on Tord's board.
And we see the fighting energy already in hand. Well, this is to consider which energy is going where. If you place this lightning energy, I would think onto the Fan Rotom, that you'd have an opportunity to work that in and have a knockout. But he doesn't have the stadium to go along with it, so maybe we'll see a shifting here.
I actually think he does have the stadium, but he wants to go with the Thunderburst Storm. He's got Latias EX in his hand. That's what we're going to see come down. He has the attachment and the Latias to move. Going to use Teal Dance first, draw some cards, see what he can work with. Attachment for turn, into the Latias, into the retreat, into the Thunderburst Storm. This is the perfect start for Andrew Mahone.
This is not supposed to happen with Itchy Pollen. This was exactly what Tord wanted to prevent. He did not want to see energies accelerated, see Pokemon moved around, but sure enough, Andrew actually held onto all of the perfect resources, Latias, to move this Pokemon, to take the knockout on the Dreepy. And what do you do as Tord? You don't have an opportunity to evolve through into a Dracloak or into a Dragapult. You have to evolve to Dracloak, and it just gets knocked out again.
Dracloak is not able to be protected by anything here. He does not have something like the Luxurious Cape that we've seen from these decks before. He does not have that Shaman like we mentioned. He'll start things off with the Ultra Ball, discards 2 cards. Down goes a Dragapult EX. Down goes one of his 2 basic energy in the deck, and he is able to find the Pheasantipity EX. This is already looking really tough for Tord, and this is that kind of battle back and forth. The super strong, aggressive, basic deck up against the more technical, the more advanced Stage 2 spread deck. Sometimes the aggressive deck just runs over the Stage 2 before it gets it up and running.
Yeah, we didn't expect to see this. So often when we see now the Raging Bolt, it's just countered immediately by the Shaman, or you have the Cape to help out, buy you a little more time. We see a little bit of potential for stalling with the counter catcher if you can include Maractus into the mix. This is one inclusion that Tord thought of to potentially buy some time.
Yeah, the Maractus from Journey Together, a huge option to potentially have available, and he could go for it here. Corner, 20 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon cannot retreat. So this may be Tord's way to try to buy some time, stick things out. Andrew Mahone does have a few ways around this, though. He has Professor Turo Scenario in his deck. He has Prime Catcher in his deck as well. Ways that he can get out of this corner lock.
And you have to think that that's certainly on the table for Andrew. This does mean that Itchy Pollen is broken, so the opportunity to play those item cards works out so well. You can then also use your Noctowl, find exactly what you need. Plenty of ways to move around here.
Lock him up. 20, right?
Corner, 20 damage, locking that Latias EX up into the active spot, and Tord Reklev has one card in hand. Mahone very quickly going with the Noctowl, uses the Jewel Seeker, grabs that Professor Turo scenario. He says, I'm getting this Latias out of here. You are not going to corner this thing once again. And now this will be an interesting choice. Mahone will probably go after the Dracloak. You could make a slight argument to target the Maractus so you don't find yourself in this situation once again. But probably preventing a Dragapult EX from coming into play is going to be the line.
Yeah, I want to remove that Pokemon because it could lead to some pretty ridiculous draws. You see the Dragapult, maybe you see the Neo Upper, and then you lose your best attacker right then and there. It's pretty dangerous spots, and I'm not sure what that last card was from Tord in the hands, but I think we saw another counter catcher added in, so if you have that, maybe Maractus does its job once more.
Yeah, and I think that is the final card there. We'll get confirmation once it gets back over to Tord's turn. But we know Andrew does have the Prime Catcher in the deck. That is his one other way to get out of that retreat lock with the corner. It's going to be kind of tight margins here, to be honest. There is a scary world, I think, here for Andrew, where if something can get Maractus again, maybe he's in a tough spot. Now, Maractus does not just win the game. Corner does deal damage, so eventually that Pokemon would get KO'd, but it could buy Tord enough time to establish a board.
Right, and we're talking many, many turns, and the benefit of the Latias being targeted means that you don't have those hit points locked in at this point of the game. That would be plenty of turns to worry about.
And I do think we are not going to see Latias coming back into play. Mahone said, I'll pump the brakes there, but the Noctowl is still something that very easily could get stuck and dragged active.
Yep, a few turns available then if that were to be the case. Also, we still know plenty of ways to draw out of that. Any Ultra Ball, any Noctowl itself will find more resources.
Noctowl can also attack, of course, right? Get in there on the Maractus. And we actually will see the Maractus be the choice of what to be KO'd here for Andrew. Decides to get rid of that as opposed to the Dracloak. And I guess what he's thinking here is, my opponent has a one-card hand. Sure, there's Fezandipity. I'm going to play the odds that they can't get a Dragapult this turn, especially since Tord just discarded one.
Yeah, the rarely used Dragon Headbutt is a way to move this Pokemon, knock it out. So often we see the Thunderburst Storm as the attack of choice, but it's going to take the knockout here and give Tord that slight opportunity, but maybe it's for the best. You don't have the resources directly in hand as Andrew. He does not have that Noctowl. We'll see if Tord has a bit of a read on that.
The Maractus ability coming into play as well, dealing 6 damage counters to the active Raging Bolt. There will be the counter catcher. Let's drag that Raging Bolt EX into the active spot. 2 Lightning Energy already committed to the benched Raging Bolt. Tord hoping maybe that Lightning Energy is unable to be found for Mahone, and an Iona will be played as well.
I mean, there's definitely opportunities here for Tord. He plays cards like Hawlucha, 6 damage counters on this baby Raging Bolt. Does not line up too great for that. If we were to see a Dragapult in the near future, he could remove a ton of energies off of the board just like that. Think of a turn where maybe a Teal Mask Ogerpon and the Raging Bolt are targeted and a Boss's Orders or a counter catcher's played. Just taking away all of those energies would be unreal.
Lots of different lines, lots of different plays still available in this one. Ultra Ball will be the item card now. Discards of Brock's Scouting and a Professor's Research, searching the deck for any Pokemon. We're going to see another Dreepy get established, or is it time for Dragapult EX to come into play?
Yeah, I mean, it does go against everything that Tord preaches, which is give yourself opportunities to draw as many cards as possible. If you evolve this Pokemon without a backup plan in another Dracloak later on, and you're just left waiting to be knocked out and drawing additional resources with Fezandipity. If that Pokemon's knocked out, what do you do?
It will be the Dreepy as the choice, getting that established. We know Tord loves his Pokemon that have abilities that draw you extra cards. Callbacks, of course, to Zoroark GX, which he won so many tournaments with. And probably just going to see another Itchy Pollen, another 10 damage, another slow turn here for Tord Reklev. We'll see what Andrew has as a response.
Yeah, there is a Night Stretcher dedicating this energy, but this is what you have to do at this point. Play this energy down. If your opponent has the Boss's Orders, probably wasn't going your way anyways.
Itchy Pollen, draw for turn. Andrew Mahone unable to play any item cards, but he has that Noctowl's Jewel Seeker. This can find the supporter cards that he needs to get the energy out of the deck. Crispin being found right away, and the basic lightning is available.
Yeah, and you know what? That's calculated because the other fighting energy was in the prize cards, so he must have thought about situations just like this one to play around that situation.
Did he only grab one card from Jewel Seeker? I think he only got one.
Who needs the other?
He said, Crispin is what I need. That's what we're going with. And we're actually going to see him retreat here as opposed to attacking with this Raging Bolt. He wants to deal with that Dracloak, take that out of play immediately.
One card out, Jewel Seeker. Yeah, knock him out.
He just realized.
He was so happy.
He said, I'm chilling, bro. It's good.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I got 2 energies. That's the same thing, right?
Pheasantipity now being used for Torrid Reklev. 3 cards found. A bunch of Buddy Poffins. There's the Dragapult EX. Cannot evolve it. There's nothing like a rare candy in this list. There's no way to get into the Dragapult right away. I think Andrew is recognizing the build that Torrid has going on here. He knows that targeting down that Dracloak was the proper thing to do, the most important thing to do, even if it was a very costly thing to do, discarding all of those energy cards.
Right. This is just a spot where Torrid does not have answers. He has to continue to evolve into Dracloaks and try to slow down his opponent. Using Badoo to try to item lock at this point is one of those helpful things. So does he potentially find a boss's orders here and try to slow things down once more? There is an opportunity. Maybe you bring up that Raging Bolt or a Noctowl and try to slow down a little bit more.
In typical Torrid fashion, he does have just the full 4 copies of boss's orders in his deck list. He will bring up that Raging Bolt and stick it active and probably use Itchy Pollen for a turn here. Now, did Andrew take his fighting energy off the prizes? He did. That is huge because he's got fighting energy and he's got the Sada. He's going to be able to pull off the attack.
Yeah, this is devastating for Torrid. He's just trying to hold on at this point and avoid these exact resources. We've seen so many energies played to that point. It was nearly 10 energies that we had already seen go by, but finding that energy specifically out of the prizes unlocks this knockout here. Just need 1 energy to get the Badoo out of the way, but Prime Catcher has found ways to close out this game, starting to come to fruition as you stared on that Pheasantipity.
And Andrew Mahone has Prime Catcher in his hand. This game will be over on the next turn unless Torrid can find some sort of miracle, something with Maractus or something, I don't even know. Prime Catcher stops that, so that's not even really a line available. Going to take note of Andrew's discard pile. Going to play the Buddy Poffin. He does have Badoo, so that shuts off Prime Catcher. If he has a boss of his own and can maybe stall up a Noctowl for a turn or 2, maybe slow down Andrew and prevent him from winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about every resource being used wildly and efficiently, but that's how he has to do it from this point forward. And energy, just to retreat this Dreepy would be so helpful, but we've seen so many already. It looks like he did find the Luminous energy, and he has the boss.
He
can go for it once more.
He needs some Dracloaks. This is good. He can buy some time. He missed a Dracloak last turn. If he misses one this turn, he's still so many turns away from a Dragapult being able to attack.
Okay, this is the spot, though. This is what you were looking for. We've seen, there's 8 energies already on the board, maybe 3 in the discard pile, and we know there's 1 prized. There might not be an energy right now to move this Noctowl.
He's got nothing. He's just going to have to pass now. Torrid draws for turn and is finally able to find the Dracloak.
Hold on. Let him cook. He's finding it here. Dracloak starting to use Recon Directive, and he has an avenue. So many energies were played to this point. This Noctowl cannot move. And as you mentioned with the Maractus, you have a certain amount of turns. It's starting to build now with the Itchy Pollen.
We do see now Ursaluna comes into play for Torrid. That is an option to take a multi-prize turn. Torrid is finding a way to buy some time, get established, and he was really debating this Iono, and I think the reason was he knew that Andrew did not have the energy last turn. Playing this Iono gets him closer to finding energy, gets him closer to finding a way to retreat.
We don't know exactly the counts on it. There might be 1 energy left in the deck, but we know 1 energy is in the prizes, and that is so pivotal. That's information Torrid is not playing with right now. So he was taking a bit of a risk, but maybe it'll all work out for him here. He's buying the time. You could see a world where you set up Hawlucha and get enough damage onto the Raging Bolt. Maybe knock out both bolts. We'll see if it's all possible, but he's just going to go for the knockout now and hope that this Iono did its job.
Putting Andrew to just 2 cards. No Hoot Hoots in play, but he will be able to play his item cards. We do see that Raging Bolt coming to the active spot. Draw for turn now for Andrew Mahone. Professor Sada, what else does he have? It's the Judge and the Knock Towel. So not much to go with here. Probably just a Judge will be the option. Sada can get you another energy onto the active, but that doesn't do too much. Sure enough, Judge is going to be the move.
Yeah, Sada, a little tempting if you could build up more of those energies, find more energies, maybe even take knockout on a card like that Pheasantipity if you found enough energies, but we know they're not available.
That would have to be a lot of energy.
They're all sitting in the discard pile. You'd have to find Night Stretchers and move the energy around. It's just not going to happen, so you need to see more resources.
Yeah, he's not winning the game this turn. Ursaluna did just use its Blood Moon attack last turn, so he knows it cannot attack in back-to-back turns, and he actually finds his own Ursaluna. Interesting thing to note that he plays. It'll be a little while before Andrew Mahone's seasoned skill ability comes online, but he found a Night Stretcher. This can get back a Pokemon from the discard pile. What's he going to eye up?
Yeah, this is where Raging Bolt can try to lock up this game at this point. You have the Sada's Vitality. Finding any way to find one more energy will take that final knockout that you need. He takes a Dracloak off the board. He has a Blood Moon Ursaluna that can't attack in the active. How does Tord get out of this?
Yeah, I don't even think Tord has a way to move the Ursaluna this turn, to be honest. He's already used his Professor Turo. Oh, he does play 2. He has 2 Turo in his list, so that's what he has to find. Actually even has the Latios. That is massive as well. Skyliner giving that basic Pokemon free retreat. But what Pokemon can he move into as an attacker? There's the Dragapult EX. And does he have his Neo Upper energy?
Gosh,
he does. His A-Spec. Neo Upper. Iono. Sending Mahone down to just 1 card. Mahone has not established Pheasantipity into play. He has not established Mew EX into play. We could see the comeback of all comebacks right now from Tord Reklev. Just 1 card to work with on Andrew's side. Will he have the pieces here? This game has become a close one out of nowhere.
Oh, you have to set up the math perfectly. He's going to take the 2 prize cards here so that he only has to go after 2 more to close out the game. You can still find an answer here by placing the damage with the Hawlucha onto the Teal Mask and then Boss's orders to close things out and win the game. But it's all up to Mahone right now. He needs to find an answer. He's staring down an absolute behemoth in that Dragapult right now.
Wow, and he knows the situation. He draws. It's a Boss's orders.
Wow.
But there's no energy.
He's 1 energy short.
Oh my gosh. And Andrew extends the hand. There's nothing he can do. Tord Reklev fights back and finds a way to make the comeback. What a game 1 to kick off this set.
Tord Reklev just attacked with what? Itchy Pollen, corner, Itchy Pollen, and it won.
Oh my gosh. That, I mean, and Andrew is stunned. You can see it on his face. He's running through the replay in his head right now, trying to figure out where things went wrong. He should not have lost that game. He was so far ahead. And just 1 misstep, maybe somewhere along the way. I mean, he got the 1 card off the Jewel Seeker. That would have been an opportunity to find something else. You can see just how strong Badu is into this Raging Bolt deck. That's what shut Andrew off of getting the Pheasantipity down, getting the Mew EX, and Tord finds the path to make the comeback.
Yeah, we might see it here in the replay of where things got a little too cute for Andrew, but what a start to get things rolling here. 90 damage, taking a knockout on the Dreepy. And we saw Tord trying to slow things down. He had the Maractus, he was using corner, he was using Itchy Pollen, but I think things got a little too cute right around here when we saw the Raging Bolt's EX retreating.
No, I don't think that was necessarily the problem. I think that was the problem. He discarded the Grass Energy off the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn. If he discards the Grass Energy off the Raging Bolt, it wasn't necessary to have that extra energy card on there. 90 damage is enough to knock out all the Dracloaks. He would be able to have an attacker, and when he draws Boss's orders off the Iono to 1, he can win the game by KOing something on Tord's bench.
Yeah, it was tough to see, especially in the moment. You're not expecting that your opponent will continue to chain together these these itchy pollens and slow you down. He just had no access to energies after that play, trying to piece it together, and it's just wow.
Oh, Tord cannot believe it. He knows he got away with one there. He knows that that game should very rarely have gone his way. That was a 90-10 moment, and he found that 10% line, played to it, and took the win. Wow, what a game.
Yeah, so fun to see, and I expect Mahone to, take that opportunity here that he has. It was only, 20 minutes or so? You still have plenty of time, especially with this deck in particular. Raging Bolt can take prizes very quickly, and he has the fan road to get things rolling.
Yeah, Andrew usually plays very, very quickly. He makes moves, he's grooving through the deck, and this deck specifically doesn't really attribute itself too much to ties. He does have one so far this tournament, so it can obviously still happen. But now with a one-game deficit, he's going to definitely need to make sure he's moving here.
Yeah, we saw last time go after that baby Raging Bolt. I think that's still the line in this situation. We know how important that is. If you're knocking out Treepies, your opponent doesn't get established. They don't find the right cards. And it was almost a miracle that Tord was able to find Maractus and Badoo and all those pieces, the counter catchers at the right time. To still hold on to all of that without any recon directive was pretty impressive.
Yeah, Andrew should know for sure now that Tord does not have Shaman. He maybe thought there was a chance when he got the Raging Bolt down game one. Now you know for sure. There's no Shaman in Tord's deck. Your Raging Bolt can wreak havoc on Tord's board as much as you want it to. That will definitely be the ideal thing to set up here right away.
Yeah, the rest of the hand, it's okay, but it's not perfect. And this is maybe where he has to go a little off the beaten path. He has the Noctowl, but no Terra Pokemon just yet. So in that sense, do you then have to go after the Teal Mask?
And I think that's exactly what he's going to have to do. There's really not much playability in this hand outside of the Noctowl. So he has to find Teal Mask Ogre Pawnee X. There's nothing like Squawkabilly in the Raging Bolt deck these days. People aren't really playing that. It's all about the Mew and the Pheasantipity, the mid and late game draw, as opposed to that early game consistency. For that, you're relying on Fan Rotom.
Yeah, and thankfully so. We've seen Squawkabilly knocked out very easily throughout the course of this tournament, and you do not want to give easy prize cards to Tord Ratcliffe.
Teal Dance, energy, draw for turn, not for turn. For the Teal Dance, there is that Slitherwing, not a great card in this matchup. Can get in there on that Blood Moon Ursaluna potentially, but not super strong right now. There is the Mew EX. He's going to debate putting that onto the bench. 2 Dragapult, 2 energy cards, the Pheasantipity and the Monkey Dory, and just an itchy Pollen.
All right, if he figures this one out, then I'm done. I don't have answers for this.
And Mahone says, yes, I am going to get 2 cards this time on my Jewel Seeker. Now, Mahone can still get off the attack here. There's no energy in the hand currently, but from the Jewel Seeker, we could see Crispin, we could see the Stadium card being found, Assault Landing gets in there. Jewel Seeker is searching, of course, for any 2 trainer cards. He's actually going to choose Nest Ball here. Cannot play it right now. Does he have a Stadium? He must have a Stadium in his hand.
Yeah, we'll see if that's the case. Crispin can get those additional energies into play, and you have an opportunity to draw that additional card with the Teal Mask Ogrepon to see a little bit more. We do not see it, but we do see the Prime Catcher. He says, oh my gosh, cannot believe
Andrew, he does not have the Stadium, and he could have totally gotten it instead of the Nest Ball.
It's ugly. He could go after another Ultra Ball for another Noctowl.
Can he?
Oh, never mind. He's got Itchy Pollen.
He can't go after it.
Yep, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he could draw it off of Teal Dance, and I think that's what it's going to come to here.
YOLO.
So he's going to attach the Lightning from the Crispin. He has the energy in hand from the Teal Dance. He also could find another Grass energy that would let him retreat and attack.
But he attached for the turn, though, so a little early there. But
not yet. No, that's the Teal Dance, the Crispin on the active.
Crispin, yeah.
And it's just going to be a pass. He cannot Assault Landing. He can Assault Landing. It just doesn't do anything. There's no Stadium in play. Wow.
I mean, look at this hand. There is nothing going on, and he finds Ultra
Oh, my
Ball.
goodness.
A little bit of help here, but it's not great.
And he's debating what to discard. I think he's thinking about discarding both Dragapult EX.
He didn't need him last time until the tail end anyways.
He plays 3. He only needed 1 last time. Maybe that's the same situation he'll find himself in.
He can't do it.
Just Itchy Pollen, just a draw. It is a Blood Moon and a pass.
Guys, what are we doing?
Oh my gosh. What is this game? What is the situation?
The third
Dragapult. That's a top deck right there. 3 Dragapult in the hand. Itchy Pollen. Take that, Andrew. Draw for turn. There's the grass energy. There's the Teal Dance. We're grooving now. Attach the energy. No ancient Pokemon in play.
Slitherwing,
but can get the Slitherwing from the hand, get the attachment, draw some cards, and now at minimum, Andrew can retreat and use Myriad Leaf Shower, and he finds that Area 0 under depths a couple turns later than he would have liked, but he's still going to start swinging. He's still going to take this KO.
Yeah, this does line up both players understanding what's happening here. This is ridiculous to watch 2 pros slap each other with pool noodles, but we are at this point.
It's a long tournament day, the situation we find ourselves in, and Andrew now able to take that knockout. But Tord has the perfect response to a KO. Pheasantipity, flip the script, drawing 3 cards, has the Ultra Ball in hand, has a Brock scouting. That can start to establish some Pokemon now. Getting a Dreepy, maybe getting another Badoo. There's a counter catcher in the hand. We could see the Maractus get into the mix onto that Noctowl. Lots of different lines.
Yeah, this is what Tord was waiting for. He held on to the Ultra Ball too. He knows that in a turn where you set up Dreepy, you also need to do something preventative with your opponent, Maractus. #1 fan right here. As you have a chance to take that Noctowl, slow things down, maybe buy yourself those turns you're looking for. But we know Andrew's also holding on to a ton of items.
Yes, that's right. Any Ultra Ball can lead to a Turo. Any Turo leads to picking up the Noctowl, which gets it out of the active spot and also resets the Noctowl, so you can bench the Hoot Hoot and use a Jewel Seeker again on a following turn.
I mean, Chip, there's a pink card in the hand as well. There's a lot working for Andrew right here, although it may not seem it.
Brock Scouting, of course, pretty nice auxiliary type supporter. You get to do a couple of different things with it. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or an evolution Pokemon. Kind of take your choose of whatever you need at any given time. Put those into your hand.
Okay, well, it's time to throw these bad boys away.
Who needs
He has
them?
the 3rd Dragapult, so if we ever get there, maybe it'll find its time to shine.
Of course, there are 2 Night Stretcher in this deck.
Sure.
You know, it's fun to joke about, but he will still have access to those cards potentially later on if he needs them. And in some aspects, you could say it's nice to actually have a Dragapult EX in the discard pile so that those Night Stretchers become live targets off of potential disruption supporters from Andrew Mahone.
Yeah, you know where they are. You don't have to worry about them for later on. And certainly we'll see more knockouts in the future turns. Pheasantipity with a chance to draw even more resources in that regard.
And Counter Catcher will bring up the Mew EX, not the Noctowl. Doesn't want to give Andrew that easy out of the Turo to reset, I believe. And that is going to be 20 damage from the corner.
Yep, we see the 5 bench spaces there, but of course a little more now with the Area 0 under depth, so a few more Pokemon could be played down, but the importance that we see here is that there is a Hoot Hoot available. Noctowl could find more additional resources. The Prime Catcher's there. If you want to use that resource, you know how valuable it can be, but maybe there's a knockout that could be lined up here with a Raging Bolt EX into that Pheasantipity and really start to take an impressive prize lead. We'll see what he values the most.
Uses the Nest Ball, will get that Pheasantipity out, something he did not have access to in the previous game. Now it will be established. Now Tord can find ways to deal with it, but he's going to force Tord to deal with it. And having both Mew and Pheasantipity in play means that you'll probably at least have some draw around later game disruption.
And now this is the one thing he didn't have in the previous game is he went with that commitment of his energies over to his baby Raging Bolt and tried to take some of those smaller prize cards, removing Dreepies and Dracloaks. But if you go for the Raging Bolt EX in this spot, then you have an opportunity to maybe keep some more energies on board, keep a threat that survives the Iono, and still puts on enough pressure to take these bigger knockouts.
Earthen Vessel discards the Fan Rotom, not super useful at this point, and can search the deck for 2 basic energy, add them to the hand. There's the basic Fighting and a basic Grass energy. Can, of course, use the Teal Dance. There's going to be Jewel Seeker. Let's see how many cards Andrew chooses to take off this one. Up to 2 trainer cards from the deck.
Yeah, and you know, you've always got options. He likes one.
I get 1 more.
And he's thinking about the second.
I don't think Andrew's going to forget that he can take 2 cards off Jewel Seeker anytime soon.
Yeah, he'll have Twitch chat to remind him. And this is a great spot here. You want to go for something that can stick around maybe through a Badoo. We've seen this before where your opponent slows things down. You want to have opportunities to play supporters instead of some of these additional items.
It will be the Turo added to the hand. Picking up the Mew, getting that out of play. Now, it's something you probably want to have in play, so I kind of would have expected to see something like the Prime Catcher this turn. Andrew does have that in hand. He could target down the Pheasantipity.
Yeah, I don't think we're done yet. This is certainly a spot, and he wants to count out his bench to see how he can maneuver this. But if you use this in combination with the Prime Catcher, focus on the Sada's Vitality as your supporter for the turn, you could do that. But yeah, he's going to bounce.
Going to bounce. He, I think, wants to deal with the Maractus. He recognizes the potential threat it could pose to his deck. It could slow him down a lot, really let Tord get established, and just wants to deal with this as soon as possible. Still has an energy to attach for turn, which he will do. And Myriad Leaf Shower takes a prize. Mahone goes up. 2 prizes taken towards 0.
You have Exploding Needles, leaving a lasting impact on that Teal Mask Ogrepon. A little extra damage to go around, and we'll see if Tord can make that to his benefit. Not on this turn, man, not on next turn, but in a few turns. He's got a long way to go here, and it's on the back of Recon Directive.
All about the Recon Directives. Let's find some Dracloaks. Let's get them into play, and it's going to have to be Pheasantipity to find that. Ooh, that does not find much. Does Tord have a supporter?
His bosses.
Here's a Recon Directive. Okay. Finds one, gets it established. There's an Iono. That is huge.
Wants to check the hand count. It's plenty. It's enough. It'll work for this situation. But is this a spot where you feel comfortable using the counter catcher before the Iono? Can you go after a card like that Pheasantipity? Feel comfortable that you might be able to still squeak out an additional turn here?
The problem I think Tord is considering here is he doesn't have Badoo or anything in his hand. So he doesn't have a way to kind of stick anything active guaranteed. Now, he could draw into it off of the Iono, and he could maybe find another Dracloak to help him keep digging, but he's already had a Badoo go down. He's already used some of his search cards, so there's a chance that he'll have a tougher time finding it. Let's see if he's going to commit this energy attachment to the active, so it's a potential retreat option.
I mean, we're still talking about a triple retreat cost here on the Slither Wing. Finding the fighting energy is probably not that easy. And when you think about it, already see a second one on the board on the Raging Bolt. So to find that final fighting energy to continue attacking with this active doesn't seem likely, but was that a Crispy Boy?
That was a Crispin found for Andrew off of the Iono. That will be pretty nice. Now, Tord did choose not to commit the energy to the active and hope to find a piece to get into a Badoo this turn. He chose to just play it a little safer, put the energy onto the Dreepy, and he would have found the out with the Buddy Poffins and the Ultra Ball, but there's no way to know. He's playing it as safe as possible.
And this leads to having opportunities for a little more of a setup, and if your opponent is going to find a way to attack, it's likely not in combination with the boss's orders, so that energy should be safe for the future turns.
Off the Ultra Ball, there is the other Dracloak. We can still see yet another Recon Directive. The Monkey Dory stuck in the active spot. I don't think Tord minds too much. It's not super good in this matchup. Monkey Dory really nice alongside Dragapult. It's got so much HP, but in this matchup, usually a Dragapult, if it comes into play, you're either going to win the game or it's getting knocked out. Yeah,
it's you don't leave much damage on the other side of the board when you're playing in this match. And I mean, for Tord, this might be the most comfortable he's been, which is sad because it's been a long time to get here, but he has 2 Dracloaks ready to roll. He has the energy.
Oh my gosh.
He's got some follow-up. What is Andrew working with?
Andrew has prized his 3rd fighting energy.
Oh.
His 3rd fighting energy is in the prize cards. He has the Crispin. He would have been able to find it to attach, to attack, to start swinging with the Slither Wing, but he will not be able to do that now.
Oh, let's see if he was able to track that. And we know he was playing quickly in this game 2, knowing he was already down a game, knowing that over 20 minutes had passed. Is this news to him?
We're going to see right now. He actually only has 1 energy in his deck as well, which means that this Crispin has effectively become an energy search. He doesn't even get to attach it for free. He has to just put it into his hand.
Yeah, very unfortunate to see. Just not working for him in this sense. And one thing he does have is maybe he can find access to some items later on, but he's already drawn with the Teal Mask Ogrepon. He doesn't have any other resources here, no Hoot available, so he's just relying off the top of his deck for a little while. This is going to be a slower approach.
Just 1.
Just the 1, adding it to the hand, attaching to the Raging Bolt on the bench.
For turn.
And that's all he has. I mean, he can go for the stomp off, you know, discard the top card of Tord's deck. Maybe he hits something
Get the
important.
other Dragapult.
You know what? Let's get rid of all of them.
And
Let's go for that stomp off, get rid of the card. See if maybe, I mean, at least do something right.
This is where we're at.
There's dude. Honestly, not a bad card to get rid of there.
Yeah, it's been a great card, especially when you start to look at the resource race. We see 8 energies in play. We know there's an additional 1 prize. There's 1 in hand, but I mean, we're starting to get a little depleted on Andrew's side.
Buddy Poffin searching the deck for 2 Pokemon with 70 HP or less. It looks like Dreepy is the only live target still in the deck for Tord Reklev. That Badoo, of course, going down. There's a Dreepy in the prize cards. Looks like a Dracloak as well with the other Monkey Dory that we've seen.
One of those Night Stretcher as well. It's 2 copies in this list, so when we see cards like that Dragapult, both of those copies hitting the discard pile, you have 1 more available, but maybe not as many resources to get that back.
Something to be mindful of here. There is only 12 minutes left in this game. If Mahone is able to piece together the win here, he's got to win a Game 3 in order to lock up a win in the set, and there's probably not going to be enough time for that, even with a deck as fast as Raging Bolt.
Yeah, and for Tord, this is something that you need to consider. You have a Pokemon that's basically stuck in the active spot right now. You have perfect information that this fighting energy is not available, or else this Slitherling would have been attacking, trying to deal some damage, some knockouts. So can you slow down, maybe keep this Pokemon even more locked? We saw the Badoo, but can you maybe use that Night Stretcher a little inefficiently and grab it back?
An interesting thing with the Slitherwing, it is weak to Psychic, so Mind Bend can get it. It actually doesn't even one hit KO with the weakness. It's 140 times 2. You'd only deal 160 to it. Andrew does have a Grass Energy. He can Teal Dance to draw another card. That is a loaded Teal Mask Ogrepon. I think he's hoping here for potentially the find of the Prime Catcher. Looks like he's just grabbing another Grass Energy. He does have another Teal Mask Ogrepon. Is he going to just keep on cycling here?
Yes, this is where you start to feel the pressure of the clock. If you think you need to get rolling in order to get this game for a tie or even move for the miracle win, you have to probably use this Teal Mask Ogrepon inefficiently, draw that extra card, try to find some help.
There's an Ultra Ball that can find the Mew, bring it back into play. Use that restart. Or, the Latias. Yeah. Very good. Yes, that will be a nice way to get this Slitherwing out of the active spot. Now, the question here for Andrew, is he going to use Raging Bolt EX to attack, get the energy in the discard pile so he can at least Sada in the future? Is that the move?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly would expect it. You also threaten if your opponent goes for the Dragapult, you have the immediate answer. You don't lose a 6 energy Teal Mask to something pretty inefficient. And you can throw those energies away, force your opponent to use more resources in this spot.
Yeah, Slitherwing's never going to get stuck now with the Skyliner unless Tord can find a way to KO the Skyliner, Latias, and then move into some sort of locking option. That Latias being in play does open up some sort of Maractus plays now as well towards a very intelligent player. You know, he's keeping track of all possible win conditions at any given time in a match, be it through traditional taking 6 prize cards or decking his opponent out by sticking something active, or even just buying enough time for the game to finish with a 1-0 victory.
Yeah, and every one of these actions takes a little bit of time right now, and he's going to do just that, and rightfully so. You need to see as many resources as possible. Try to come up with a game plan that works in this spot. And is it going to be a slower approach? Can you slow down here and try to move something else active? We don't exactly see the energy right now for Maractus. I think that was the one piece he wanted.
The more cards Tord finds, the more options available, the more decisions he has to think through, the more possible paths to victory that he could find. There's the Buddy Poffin, just going to fail it. Quick little search, make sure he knows what he has available. No Dreepies, that's right, the last one is prized. That last Dragapult is available, though. Is he going to start attacking this turn?
Yeah, we see plenty of energies that would have worked if he wanted to go for that stalling strategy. But if he wants to attack, those will do the same. He would have to use Iono in that spot, and that's not where he wants to be. Brock's scouting, moving on, probably for that evolution.
Yeah, he does not have an energy in the hand, which is awkward here because he can't go for a Maractus. He has the Night Stretcher to get the Maractus, but no energy in order to stick that Latias active.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. He had nearly 11 cards in his hand after drawing with the Recon Directives, and the Pheasantipity. Wanted to see that, and you could see a little bit on his face was just a bit upset that it just did not work out for him there. Has to switch the game plan up. He's got the Night Stretcher. He's got access to the fire energy, you'd imagine here. And now he can attack, but he's walking right into the Raging Bolt knockout.
Yep, that is the problem here. You do not one-hit KO Raging Bolt EX. 240 hit points. Dragapult caps at 200 damage with its Phantom Dive attack. You get that extra 6 damage counters to sprinkle on the bench. But with all these energies in play, you have to know this Dragapult is just going to be knocked out.
Right, and in that sense, you understand you don't want to put that additional damage on the Raging Bolt EX. Instead, go after the most energies that you can remove from the board. You could even see Fan Rotom knocked out at this point. Just one additional energy that's moved off of the board here could be helpful to forcing Andrew to take the knockout while losing every energy that he has.
Latias coming into play as well. Phantom Dive takes the knockout on the active, is going to place 4 onto the Fan Rotom to KO it and spread the damage around onto Pheasantipity, onto the Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, putting those in range of future Phantom Dives.
Sub 7 minutes remaining now. Andrew Mahone, 3 prizes to towards 3. He has the Raging Bolt EX. He has not much else working for him other than the fact that he has flipped the script on his side for the first time in the set. Can he find some help?
He does find Prime Catcher. That'll be a nice piece later on. He finds the Mew EX. That would be really strong to establish here so that Tord can't clear both Pheasantipity and Mew out of play. You will at least have the option to use one of those 2 pieces. And Bellowing Thunder, if he can find another energy card, will be able to KO this active.
I think we're looking at 3 Sada available to draw into at this point in the deck. About 10 to 12-ish cards remaining, maybe a little more. But if Mew can get down the hand size a little bit, Restart could find that resource here. Still has the Area 0 Underdepths, 3 additional bench spots, the Hoot Hoot to go along with this. Maybe there's a world where he finds the right supporter.
Yeah, Andrew's line here is pretty straightforward. He needs to KO this active, go down to 1 prize card, and then just find a way to take 1 prize with the Blood Moon or Saluna.
Right.
Tord is at 3 prizes, so if he takes a 2-prize KO, he will... Oh, actually, this is an option as well. And Andrew is going to use the boss's orders to actually just take out the Pheasantipity, not risk not drawing into a way to get more energy into play. Just going to go after this Pheasantipity immediately.
Yeah, this isn't bad either. You have an ability now, and you can take this knockout with 3 energies, and you still have that Prime Catcher that you could find. It would just be the Prime Catcher and 1 additional energy. If you move every energy other than the Lightning, you have a chance to find the Fighting energy out of your prize cards.
Sure. We'll get rid of that Fighting and off the bench and the Lightning off the active. He'll take 2, and let's see what Tord has available. There's the Hawlucha to ping the Hoot Hoot on the bench, and the counter catcher to bring up the Pheasantipity. Phantom Dive would take the KO. Andrew put that Hoot Hoot down, and that led to Tord taking the 3-prize turn.
There's just no way, but he continues to do just that. Has the perfect answer over and over again.
Wow.
And no one's building a deck list like this. I think when Andrew walks into this game, plays through the first few turns, he's thinking there's no way there's a second turn. There's no way you have another way to grab this Badoo, this Maractus, this counter catcher, this boss, and it's always there.
Yeah, always there. Tord has the Gust, has the Hawlucha, is able to take that final KO. Andrew, you know, a very experienced tournament player. He's been competing for years and years and years. Though he hasn't competed much this season, he's got the experience. He knows these situations come and you make mistakes. He'll look back at this game and recognize that that is what happened. You know, mistakes were made. It led to his opponent closing things out. But he can shake it off. You know, he'll be 6-1-1. He's got plenty of time to still make a deep run in this tournament.
Yeah, we'll see how we got here through this replay. It was pretty unbelievable. Not what we typically would see from Tord. This very, very awkward approach. He's attacking with some of the goofiest Pokemon in the game.
But that's what he needed to do, and it bought him the time. It put Andrew in these awkward situations, and he just couldn't quite piece things together. And the Iono at the end of the game, the KO, getting rid of the key Pokemon on Andrew's board. He just didn't quite set things up exactly right. And then a few missteps along the way, of course, did not help his case.
Yeah, did not search out to full effect with the Jewel Seeker. Did not use he didn't use the Jewel Seeker to find his stadium when he needed it.
Yep.
Just a little bit of an issue there. And look at this, down to that Iona.